Today is like a dance, right? So I'm at school and it's interesting, right? So thank you. So when you show up to things, right? Or like, well, first of all, when you show up, you just never know what will happen, right? And I used to feel like, at least in my addiction, when the way my mind would work, when I would either be drunk or high or whatever, when I would be, it didn't matter whether I was in it or whether I was withdrawing from it. The way my mind was thinking was that, oh, everybody's against me, right? So if I feel like everybody's against me, that means I'm judging everybody from the outside, like because of how they look or because of what they're saying to me, not realizing that, I mean, yeah, you shouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna trust everybody, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I was in a place that I was fearing for my life, right? So since in a way I was fearing for my life, that means I didn't even trust myself. But I was blaming it on other people. Like, oh, I don't trust them, or I don't trust people, or, because people are people, and just making a whole group into one. Like, when people be like, or women, they're like, oh, all men ain't. I mean, have you talked to all men? Like, you talk to every man in the world, and there's no way you talk to every man in the world, because just the men that you were dealing with wasn't nothing but you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean that all of them were like that. It's like saying, oh yeah, everybody is a drunk, or everybody has an addiction, right? I mean, everybody, that is definitely true. Everybody has an addiction, but not everybody has the same addiction as you. So everybody has a life to live, but not everybody has the same experiences that you did, right? They say you can be entertaining an angel, right? But we're so caught up in a world where it's like, oh, but what if it's a demon? But what if it's a demon? What if it's a demon? Like, so you're scared of a demon? Like, I know this is everywhere, but I promise you this gonna make sense to the ones that need to hear it. When they're like, oh, animals are more scared of you than you are of it, right? But when you walk up to an animal like a bear, right? Most likely a bear, if you get into a bear's habitat, first of all, they don't know you. Second of all, they've already heard about humans because animals talk to animals. So being in the wild, right? As far as being a bear, you're in the wild and you're fearing for your life because, one, the animals are against you, and humans are against you. Everybody is taught what they're taught. So when they're taught what they're taught, they're going around, thank you, Lord. They're going around thinking that something is what it is, but that's not what it is. It's like the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan, like the guy that got saved by the Samaritan. He heard all these stories about oh, this Samaritan did this, the Samaritan did that, not realizing the ones that he probably heard it from, or the ones that he thought would save him, ended up being the ones that just walked past him and was just like, it's whatever. And the one that ended up saving him is the one that everybody was talking about, or he heard all these stories, or fear was put in him about a person, not realizing that we put so much fear onto people, or fear onto experiences, or fear onto, oh, this person did this person did that, when in reality it's a spirit we're dealing with, because we fight against spirits, not flesh. So when you're looking at a thing or a person or a noun or whatever, you don't know how they was raised, right? Just like they don't know how you was raised. I mean, you can come up with something that, oh, they was raised like this, or oh, they was raised like that. But once you know somebody's story, and once you know what they've been through, you're able to move the way that you need to move and accept them for who they are, because everybody is going through their own traumas. And before, it's like you know that, like you can literally see everybody is different from you. But when you're looking at it from an outward appearance and being like, oh, because this person looks nice, or because this person is being nice to me, that means that they're nice. Oh, because this person is being mean to me, that means that they're mean. Not everybody that comes off nice is nice, and not everybody that comes off mean is mean. I'm not going to say not everybody deserves somebody that's nice, but sometimes people see this perception of reality as a dream, like how I mentioned in the last one, and how I realized that too. Like, we look at life like, oh, everybody's just supposed to be nice, and everybody's just supposed to be a he, and holding hands and all of that, and a bag of chips. I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, everybody should be out to kill you. But we live in a world full of good and bad, because Adam and Eve ate the apple. This is the life that we live. So to discern it, the only way we're going to be able to discern it is not leaning onto our own understanding. It's going to God, because God is bigger than all of this, right? And once people understand that, and this is such a hard conversation to get people to understand and to be open to, because everybody is still in the world. Everybody is just like, but you don't know what I know, but you ain't seen what I seen. I may not know what you know, and I may not seen what you've seen, but I can tell you I've been through the same thing too. I may have not been through what you've been through, but I've been through hurt too. I may not have heard it like you, but I've been in pain too. I may not have the same addictions as you, but I have addictions too. I may not be going through it the way you're going through it, but I'm going through it too. Even when I'm doing good, I'm still battling my own things too. Even when somebody else is doing good, they still going through what they going through too. And it's not something that's just easily learned. Like, I can have this perspective right now, and that's because I'm by myself reflecting and thinking about the things that I've been through, and thinking about the things that I didn't do and how I could have did it better. Everybody that is going through the same thing that I'm going through is doing the same thing. but you never really know somebody is going through it, or going through the actions, or going through the moves, or going through the deep of the waters, until they say something or you say something. And you know, because you're going through it too, or you're going through something similar. Like, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but you know. It's like I was talking to somebody and I asked them, how did you become such a good listener? Was it because you've always been a good listener, or like, did it just happen or whatever? And they was like, they became a good listener because when they were going through what they were going through, nobody listened to them. And if they did listen to them, they could tell when somebody genuinely, sincerely wanted to help them, and when somebody just didn't want to. And when they didn't want to, this person in particular, their pride got in the way, and they was like, okay, well, I'll just do it myself. And not even just this person in particular, a lot of us, we hear it and we're like, okay, well, you don't want to help, then I'll just do it myself. But this person also said that when it came down to if they was in the position to help, they would listen and they would help, because they know what it's like to be in that situation. And the way people help, there's so many ways to communicate. It goes to like, there's so many different people. There's so many different ways to communicate, but there's so many ways to be there for somebody. Yeah, they may not see it in the moment. They may not feel it in the moment. The only way they gonna know is if they are open to it. If they're closed off to it, all you can do is just plant that seed. If this is scripture that that's starting to be my favorite. It's in 1 Corinthians. It says, it doesn't matter who does the planting and who does the watering. All that matters is that God grows the seed. So we put so much on ourselves to be like, oh, well, I don't want to plant, or I don't want to water. Who's going to water? Who's going to plant? Who's going to do it? Just do your part. If you're the planter, be the planter. If you're the waterer, be the waterer. But ultimately, God is going to make the seed grow. If he doesn't make the seed grow, then it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. But if he makes it grow, play your role. Do your part. Because you don't know what it is that God is doing through you and for you. And not even really for you, for another person. Just like my pastor said just on Sunday. And it's actually interesting the way that life works when it's meant for you. He was like, you never know who you are helping. Like, they literally could have nothing right now. And even in what your little bit or your big a lot, whatever it is, the fact that you're able to help, whether it's small or whether it's big, whether you have nothing or whether whatever, God will provide. If it's made for you to do, God is going to make you do it. And not even really make you do it because you have the choice to do it or not do it. But he's going to give you the resources to be able to do it. And even if you don't have the resource, he's going to give somebody else the resource to do it for you. But you have to be willing to do it. You have to be willing to be like, to realize who you are in the situation. You have to realize if you're the one being helped or if you're the one that has to do the helping.